So in case you don't know, we're at the Brooklands Museum today, at the former Brooklands racing circuit. And this is the museum showing some of the cars that raced in period. And then we're going to go and look at the rest of the museum. We're going to walk around the track, what's left of the circuit, and the famous banking. And they've also booked the Concorde experience, where we'll go and have a look inside the Concorde, which they have on site here. And fortunately, we have magnificent weather here today. So every time I speak to you and tell you how miserable it is, you're not going to believe me.
This is Langebaan weather.
It's Langebaan weather, although I keep saying this is not normal, but what a great time to be here. We're just walking along the old Brooklands circuit, or remains of the Brooklands circuit. You can see we're just below the famous Members Bridge. And got to remember, this circuit was closed in 1939, but there are still loads of sections that still exist. So anybody interested in the history of motorsport definitely should make a pilgrimage to Brooklands, the first permanent racetrack in the world, I believe, and definitely in Britain. And there's still quite large portions of it that remain intact and preserved. It was bombed significantly during the Second World War because there's a railway line that runs just alongside. And after the war, it just wasn't economically viable to rebuild. But fortunately, a lot of enthusiasts got together to try and preserve what is left of the track. And there's a museum here, and it'll be preserved forever. This was the air raid shelter for employees of the Vickers Aircraft Company. When the air raid sirens went off, people would rush in here to be protected. I think you're walking through a lovely green forested area here. But we're actually just on the top of Test Hill in Brooklands, and we're about to walk across the Brooklands Members Bridge. It's quite an iconic viewpoint and bridge. You see all the pictures and the history, but to actually come here and see it in the flesh, it's quite incredible.
Up to full power. First pair of reheats on. Reports. Second pair on. Reports. 0.95. 0.96. 1.97. 0.98. 0.99. Mach 1, the speed of sound. where the sky gets darker, where you can see the curvature of the Earth. You're travelling faster than a rifle bullet, 23 miles a minute, a mile every 2.5 seconds.
Well, we're having a great time here at the Brooklands Museum. So much to see and do. Cars, motorcycles, aircraft, history, a little bit of everything. And Dad, this is the first time you've seen Concorde in the flesh?
Yeah, this is Concorde.
It's much bigger than you imagine on the outside.
It's bigger.
And much smaller than you expect on the inside.
It's very big.
This is the Wallis Stratosphere. Basically, it's an enormous vacuum tank to test aircraft fuselages, to cycle them through different pressures of high altitude, to check on any particular stress issues. This huge door here slides across on these massive wheels, seals the chamber in, and together with a huge vacuum and refrigeration simulates high altitude flight for aircraft. Fascinating. Yeah. Moving into the stratosphere chamber, where you would be allowed to or be able to enter the aircraft while it was pressurized. That would have been sealed up against this wall. Wallis, bouncing bomb, anybody? In the flesh. Oh, this is the first time I've spent a lengthy amount of time here at the Brooklands Museum. Dad, it's your first visit. What would you say, worth a visit?
Absolutely fantastic, fantastic.
You could spend hours and hours and hours here looking through the exhibits and understanding the technology and seeing all the machinery. Yeah, fascinating. Highly recommended. Come and check it out. You won't be disappointed.